Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode. We're kicking off with interview 81 with Nicola Burke, aka Wee Slice. You may be familiar with her work on Instagram. She really cracks me up and makes me laugh and just manages to share the ordinary of life in an extraordinary way. And I really love following along and hearing what she's been up to. She's just got a way with words and I'm here for it. Also, we talk about social media stuff as well, which may be helpful too. Then episode 82 with Lucy Knight, who is the founder of Born at Dawn. I love her practical approach to a creative business. And in this, she really shares how systems and organization and managing your time can really spark your creativity. Then we go to Bex Walker, who is the founder of Beck First. Have a look at her lovely food. My goodness me. And again, just to see her growth since I launched this episode. When we launched, she was just about to close her Kickstarter. And then now she's just rented, agreed for her next warehouse. So just seeing that growth in 4 years is absolutely phenomenal. And finally, Eirlie Chisholm, who is the founder of Overall 1516. And again, watching somebody else's journey and where their life and business takes them in 4 years is just really fascinating and inspiring to see. She's recently moved back to Australia, and I love her chat around sustainability and the importance of where your garments come from, shopping sustainably, being really conscious and thinking about it. It's really good. It's a really good reminder. And I hope that you enjoy it. Right, I'm going to gallop off. I've just made a brew. I'm having some white chocolate buttons just to set the scene. I hope you enjoyed the episode and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
And I think when you're in your 20s, you've got all these wee socials with your friends, whether it's from school, from further education, from work, whatever it may be. But as we get older in our 30s and 40s, life gets in the way. And I mean, I know that I'm so lucky to have a couple of really tight groups of friends, but we're lucky if we see each other, a couple of times a year now, and it's really ridiculous. So I think when you're a grown up in inverted commas, it becomes that much more difficult to get together. So if this can be a little bit in between where you can kind of get out there and meet some new people, then all the better.
Definitely. How did you go about sort of setting it up? Like, I know people go, oh, that sounds cool. I'd quite like to do that. Like, what are the pitfalls? What do you need to look out for?
It all just happens. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, people in terms of like the venue. So I used the same group of hotels this time because they're really, really supportive of me. And really lovely. So the minute you have a venue, it's then just kind of filling in the empty space. So, I decided I wanted someone to do music, and I found that like the day before, which was great. The face painting thing, I'd worked on a job with Lynn before and I loved her, so I booked her for it immediately. And then the kind of little items around it, that's just small businesses approaching me, saying they would love to be involved. So it's difficult in terms of like it's time consuming, and there's always that little bit of anxiety of what if no one actually wants to come.
Yes.
But then this time, because I made an actual ticketed event this time, I knew I wanted to affiliate with the charity as well. So I picked someone local. I picked Make Seconds Count, which is a charity to raise awareness and funding for secondary breast cancer, because it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, the funding for breast cancer research, only circa 5 to 7% of that funding goes to secondary breast cancer, and that is what people die from. It's when it goes into other areas of your body, that's kind of what kills the majority of people. So it's kind of staggering that they don't get the support that they need. So it was lovely to be able to pick them and have them come along on the day and do a bit of chat. So
I've got a year and a half under my belt with the business. I'm trying to kind of focus on looking after, not always just being about seeking new customers, to try and look after the customers that I've got well, because I think if you do that, then ultimately they will recommend you to other people, and it helps you in terms of word of mouth as well.
Oh, that's such a good point. I had a call from O2, and I will out them because I was so cross because they said I've been with them for, I don't know, 15 years or something, and they were basically trying to see who else in my household may want to be with them and get a discount, and it was that at no point were they doing anything for me and rewarding my loyalty. And I think sometimes it is that case of, especially when things are busy, you know, on to the next thing or the next person, but actually remembering those contacts is really important as well. What does a day in the life for you look like, and how do you manage your time between being on the daily grind version of things, but also growing the business?
I think it's hard, isn't it? Because for me, like, every week's different. I might have, you know, an event that I've got to prep for. I might have a week, it's in buying season, and I kind of remember buying appointments or kind of meetings quite a lot. So one thing actually I did kind of struggle with at first was from always being in big companies and having routines, that I really wanted to have a routine, and it really stressed me out that kind of...
You wanted a grown-up to kind of come round and go, right, Lucy, today we are...
to the breadline right now, but in 6 months' time, I'm going to be really thankful that I'm not having to spend out, you know, £300 or £400 at a time, because I spent the bigger amount of money in that one go. And I think it's like what you said, you know, it also takes a weight off your mind afterwards. As soon as that click's gone through and you know you can't take it back, it's done. You've paid for the music, you've paid for the jazz. Like, it takes a weight off your shoulders, because you're like, I know I've done it properly. No one's going to send me a letter. No one's going to, you know, call me up saying I owe them money. Everyone's been paid. And I do think that it's that whole ecosystem of love as well. I know it's going to sound really hippie, but I do think that, you know, when you pay people properly for a job, or when you are being paid for a job, it's great, because you know that everybody's being treated fairly, and that relationship can then probably go forward. And it's like, you want to keep building connections, and you want to keep being able to pay people. Like, I had this thing where people were saying, oh, you could get somebody to work for you for free. And I said, well, I've had that before. But the thing with that is that when people do things for free, they'll do it on their own time.
Yeah.
You can't really, like, push them too much, because they are essentially doing you a favour. So now, even with friends, you know, I'm like, what's your price? Like, let me pay you, because then I know that I can chase you up, and, you know, I know that we can set a deadline, and it's not going to be an emotional thing if things don't get done. It's just going to be a business transaction.
Or how are you doing it?
Oh, well, at the moment I feel like I'm not doing it so much. I used to, my boys, up until recently, they were just doing 2 days a week of nursery, and that was pretty tough. But they would sleep quite well, so I would kind of, from about 8 o'clock till midnight, I would work every night, and then often in the day I would actually nap to kind of balance things out, because I just found I was much better at, well, and they were napping too, so we'd all nap together. Just go and have a nap while they
Mommy's going upstairs for a while. See ya.
Yeah. But now they don't sleep, so they're quite anxious. So the last few weeks in particular have been really hard, because I haven't had my few hours every night, because that really adds up, those few hours. So it's been tricky, but I try and kind of, to manage things, I get food delivered and all that kind of stuff. So I try and, like, simplify things, and I spend more money than I probably have the budget to do, but that gives me that little bit of extra time to kind of allocate to the business, because I don't have to think about what we're going to eat, because all the meals are kind of, you know, coming, and just little things like that. So at the moment I don't really have any brilliant tips, because it's not going, you know, as well as
you're saying your life isn't perfect? No way.